Greetings, Internet. My name is Saberlord Oboshoes, and I'm here because I love animation. Ever since I was young, I have been completely enamored with cartoons. The amazing process of bringing drawings to life, the incredible voice actors each performing a myriad of characters, and the ways it can tug at my emotions, whether it be through laughing or crying. Seeing as how my love for animation, especially children's animation, has continued into my adult years, there's one common objection that really annoys me. It's just a kid's show. I hate this because it's basically saying that children's entertainment is meant to be mindless crap to serve as a free babysitter. I call foul on that. I'm going to show how cartoons aimed at children aren't afraid to tackle the big, complex, mature issues of life. And I'm going to start by talking about a subject very relevant in today's culture: prejudice. Prejudice is a theme that has been explored throughout children's media. Nearly every TV show meant for children has included a message of tolerance for everyone regardless of how they may be different from you. And of course, thousands of comics have been published teaching kids to refuse bigotry. So with this theme being so common, I'm certain we all have a preferred media example that best demonstrated how to confront it. For me, that happens to be the Teen Titans episode TROQ, not because it reinforced the beliefs that I had been brought up in, but because of how well the message is conveyed. Also, in the 12 years since the episode first aired, the American social-political climate has gotten much more hostile, and thus I believe that the messages of this episode need to be heard now more than ever. So let's begin on a less than typical day for the Titans, minding their own business when a spaceship battle occurs out their window. The Titans rush outside to help, but instead stand in awe at the Captain Atom look-alike decimating his attackers the old-fashioned bare-knuckles way.
It takes more than a plasmatic implosion to bring down Valyor.
This is our guest hero for the episode, and of course we know he's a good guy because only good guys are ever chased in space battles and have triumphant music accompany them. Robin introduces his team members and Valyor happily acknowledges each of them except for Starfire.
Valyor, I welcome you to Earth.
I see you have a Tamaranian.
Yeah, Starfire's part of the team.
So, who were those guys? They weren't guys at all.
He proceeds to explain his one-man mission with a multimedia demonstration that is somehow compatible with Earth technology.
The Locrics are vicious fighting machines.
Machines? What do they want?
Nothing less than total galactic domination. The Locrics think they are superior to organics, and they are determined to wipe us out.
Valyor intends on wiping out all the Locrics, and accepts the Titans' offer for help. They all hop aboard his spaceship and Valyor assigns each of them a task.
Why don't you navigate?
Ooh.
Raven, Beast Boy, man the blasters.
Cool.
Can I blast whoever I want?
Is there not a task for me? I also wish to be useful. Ah! Ah!
Nice shot!
Thanks.
During the battle, Valyor continues to bond well with the Earth Titans, but only addresses Starfire when he has an excuse to be angry with her.
Remind me to stay on your good side. Nice work, son. Bullshit! Are you trying to blow up the ship?
I will be more careful next time.
There won't be a next time.
Then, once the battle's over, this happens.
To apologize. I did not mean to endanger your ship. I was only trying to help.
I don't need any help from a stupid TROQ.
This really affects Starfire, causing her to sulk in depression as her teammates brag about how much Valior loves them. This continues as she sits alone during the battle plan for the attack on the Locric's home planet.
You to do a good job, Spike.
We got your back.
I know you do, Metal Butt. Now, Sunshine, I'm gonna need you to keep that energy field of yours around the ship. And Champ, you provide backup where needed.
Aye, aye.
You getting all this, Trocky?
Yes, I have gotten everything you have said.
I'm glad we have an understanding.
On approaching the planet, they discover it to be protected by a spherical minefield. Valior assigns Starfire the task of moving enough mines to create a passage for the spaceship.
You want to do this?
I wish to prove my usefulness.
Let's get going. We haven't got all day, TROQ.
TROQ? What does that mean?
It means nothing.
Starfire carefully removes the mines and does a fairly good job. That is, until she accidentally sets off a mine and quickly pushes it as far away into deep space as possible.
You may proceed safely.
Way to go, Star.
Good job.
Now take a look at that face right there. That is not the expression that a hero should be making. Up until now, clearly Valior had been portrayed as a classic case of a noble bigot. Someone who holds strong prejudices but is otherwise a good person. Sure, he despises Starfire just for being of the wrong species, but he also shows strength, courage, and leadership. Not to mention that he is single-handedly trying to save the galaxy. But at that point, I legitimately hated the character. To hold ill feelings towards someone for genetic differences is one thing, but to send that person to do a dangerous task and take disappointment when he or she doesn't die, that is truly despicable. And the worst part is that only the audience ever sees this.
Way to go, Trocky.
You do not call me that.
But Valior calls you TROQ all the time.
That does not make it right.
What's up? I thought you said it didn't mean anything.
No, I said it means nothing. When Valior calls me TROQ, he is saying that I am worthless. A nothing.
Star.
There are those on other planets who feel Tamaranians are inferior. TROQ is what they call us.
So he's calling you a terrible name. And you know that if you punch him out, it'll just confirm all the bad stuff he thinks about you.
Say that again.
And you know that if you punch him out, it'll just confirm all the bad stuff he thinks about you.
Again.
And you know that if you punch him out, it'll just confirm all the bad stuff he thinks about you.
One more time.
And you know that if you punch him out, it'll just confirm all the bad stuff he thinks about you.
Let's take a break for a moment. Today we see strong calls of reform from social justice warriors, Black Lives Matter, and other groups. In their current state, I cannot support any of them for one very simple reason. Their actions towards whomever they determine to be bigots, which is really just anyone who disagrees with them, only confirms all the bad things that real bigots think about them.
Tear gas has been thrown, water bottles we witnessed being thrown at police.
What you're looking at is the aftermath of the grand jury deciding not to indict Officer Wilson.
That's one police cruiser that is fully engulfed right now. And then if you just turn to your right, our photographer, Snike DeMoss, is going to get you the other cruiser. That one is almost finished burning.
We saw these buildings catch on fire. This was a beauty supply store.
and we watch it just burn to the ground.
The past few months, we've seen protesters, in some cases, becoming violent towards police. These images now are familiar to our viewers. There was the sucker punch also in New York. And a week and a half ago, some of the protesters demonstrating in Manhattan were chanting, "What do we want?" Dead cops. When do we want it? Now.
It's Pepe's become kind of a symbol.
Are you surprised, ma'am?
Those violent protests erupting overnight at UC Berkeley. The campus locked down as more than 1,000 people rallied against the appearance of a controversial editor from Breitbart, Milo Yiannopoulos. The clashes escalated. The speech was canceled.
They're so threatened by the idea that a conservative speaker might be persuasive and interesting and funny and might persuade, might take some people with him. They just have to shut it down at all costs.
So that's it, Republicans. There you go, Fox News, for your blogs this week. You Republicans are like Arafat.
Unfortunately, not exactly like him. I wish they were all fucking dead. Sorry.
Fuck you, brown boy! Run back to your fucking pigs! Nice haircut, asshole! Get away, you fucking out! What are you guys beating us up for? Move! Get the fuck out of
Now, to be fair, the same spirit of intolerance does occur on the other end of the social-political spectrum as well.
Leviticus 20:13 calls for the death penalty for homosexuals. Yes, Romans chapter 1 verse 32, the Apostle Paul does say that homosexuals are worthy of death. His words, not mine. And I am not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Do we believe in celebrating all diversity? Do we believe in celebrating diversity? Give it a round of applause for diversity. A round of applause for diversity. All right. It's okay. Yeah.
Back up, lady. Back up.
So,
when is your Sharia going to end?
It's
we know you're about the
so.
We can tell by your votes. We all know.
History is history. History is history. Stop you.
Yeah? Oh, yeah? Back up. Come on. Hey.
In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protests to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force.
That is exactly what Starfire is doing here. She is clearly full of bitterness towards someone who has nothing but hatred for her, but she is also smart and disciplined enough to know that hatred cannot be conquered through violence. The only way to stand against bigotry is to prove the bigots wrong.
And that's what he's been calling it this whole time. Starfire, why didn't you say something? He will apologize. I'm going to make...
No, Robin. Our mission is more important than my feelings.
There are two things from this scene that need to be repeated in today's culture. The first is that you can't force haters to stop hating. Second, how you feel doesn't matter. It's how you act that matters.
We've arrived at Sentient. Prepare for landing. Looks like they were expecting us.
Or maybe a race of sentient robots invented their own radar system.
Okay, Titans, just as we planned. Cyborg and Robin take the lead. Beast Boy and Raven guard our escape route. I'm taking the Quantum Eradicator and putting an end to the filthy Crixies once and for all.
What about Starfire?
Guard the ship, TROQ.
No, I am going with you.
I gave you an order.
I do not take orders from you. If my friends go into danger, so do I. Besides, my people can withstand hostile conditions.
Now, take a good look at this battle scene.
Let's do this.
Does it remind you of anything else? So here's my theory. I think this episode may have been inspired by the experience of ethnic minorities in World War II. Much like Val-Yor, America was fighting imperialistic enemies who believed they were superior to everyone else. Yet while fighting enemies motivated by racial hatred, America had its own racial problems. The most obvious case was in the shameful treatment of African Americans, who were segregated against and generally treated like dirt. There were also Japanese Americans who were rounded into camps just for being of the same race as the enemy. However, just because you were of European extract, that did not exclude you from prejudice. German Americans and Italian Americans were also put into camps and scorned upon by the public. Yet despite all this, many brave individuals in these oppressed groups still signed up for the armed forces to defend a country that hated them. Even though discrimination still continued throughout training and into the battlefield, they still fought the same battles and had to make the same sacrifices.
The Marine Corps isn't accepting blacks. The Army Air Corps isn't accepting blacks. The Navy is, but only as mess attendants. The Army takes African Americans, but only as replacements for its all-black units.
Is there not a task for me? I also wish to be useful.
Early in the war, African American troops are sent to remote corners of the world to build roads and airstrips for future battles. African American troops battle frigid Arctic temperatures and blinding snow to build the Alcan Highway.
Our ship won't be able to pass through the minefield. If one goes, they'll all go. This is a job for you, TROQ.
The officer in charge told me, he said, well, we don't have any colored in the military, Army Air Corps. There are other places for you, and we will not have any. The basis for their refusal was a staff report which had determined, I use that word euphemistically, that colored troops did not have the capability, the intelligence, the courage or even the coordination to fly fighter aircraft.
There are those on other planets who feel Tamaranians are inferior. TROQ is what they call us.
The motivation was basic. I'm a black man, I was colored then. I felt that if I fought for my country, shed my blood if necessary, when I come back home, I would be treated as equal.
Are you sure you want to do this?
I wish to prove my usefulness.
In World War II, the African-American experience, at times it was not nice. I was quite frustrated with what was going on. We had to keep our thoughts and our minds on the big picture instead of worrying about segregation.
Our mission is more important than my feelings.
Well, let's finish up this episode. Starfire and Valyor fight their way into the main building, and he unpredictably still treats her like crap despite all the help she gives. And that brings us to one of the greatest moments in the entire series.
You do not know what I can do!
Get away!
Take my hand!
Keep your filthy hands off me, TROQ!
You may not value my life, but I still value yours! Valyor requires medical attention.
And while his body healed in the medical bay, Valyor reflected on Starfire selflessly saving his life in spite of the way that he had treated her, and vowed to give up his hatefully ignorant beliefs. Or so you'd probably think.
Thank you for all your help.
Don't thank us. Thank Starfire.
Yeah, she's the one who saved your sorry butt.
Thank you, Starfire. I have to admit you're not bad for a Tamaranian. You must be one of the good ones.
No. The fact that I rescued you does not make me any better than other Tamaranians.
Look, I'm trying to pay you a compliment.
Then why does it still sound like an insult?
Spike, you understand. I didn't mean anything by it, it's just...
Valyor, I think it's time for you to go.
I thought you Earthlings were all right. I guess I was wrong. You're just like the TROQs.
So not only is Valyor still a bigot, but his bigotry has extended to Earthlings as well. Sadly, this is a very painful truth, as there are many people so soaked up in hatred that no act of love will ever change their mind. That's a very important point to get across. While we should practice the golden rule even to those who hate us or are just rude to us, there is no guarantee that they will be respectful back. But that doesn't mean you should ever stop following the golden rule. You should never stop doing the right thing because you don't get the outcome you wanted. You should do the right thing because it's the right thing.
There will always be people who say mean words because you are different, and sometimes their minds cannot be changed. But there are many more people who do not judge others based on how they look or where they are from. Those are the people whose words truly matter.